Today I want to show you an old woodman's trick, or in the day it was also used by the coppicers. Now what I've got here is a hazel wand, and I want to split this in two, not in half, but literally right down the middle there. Now when we do this, it comes with a few problems, and that being is that when we want to split this down the middle, the split has a tendency to want to run off to one side or the other, and what we must do is try and help keep that split going right down the middle to the end. Now you can use anything that's straight, and this applies to most things that you want to split in two. Now the way that I do this is I get my knife like so, and what I normally do to start off with, I generally imagine that's the tree or the branching that grows out of the ground. So you've got thick to thin, and what I normally like to do is split it from the thick end to the thin end. And sometimes if you're splitting out big logs, sometimes if someone's given it to you and it looks the same diameter all the way through, sometimes it's quite difficult to see that. But anyway, we won't worry about that now because we're only doing small stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my knife right on the end like so. And once we've got our knife in the end like that, and if you notice the blade itself, which is this end, is pointing up the stick, because this is where we want to run the split all the way up there. So what I normally do is put the knife in the end there, being very careful. Just give it a gently tap on the top. And sometimes if it's obviously a thicker stick, you have to give it a harder knock. So what I want to do is do that. Right. Now, did you hear that split there? The way that I control the split coming up the stick here is I twist my knife left or right. At the moment, the split to me looks quite central, and that's where I want to leave it. But I'm also, this side here looks a lot thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just twist it that way to start with. Yeah, and now the split is starting to run over to the right. So what I want to do, see how it's just popped back in there to there, look. And all we do, very gently by twisting our knives and being very patient, I'm putting more pressure on this side to keep the split running up the middle, because it wants to run off to this left hand side here. Right, so see how I'm forcing that over there. Now it's running off here to the right, so I want to bring it back over here slightly to the left. See, it's going right over there now. See how it's going that right over there? Now I've got to bring this side really hard round to recenter that. So there you go, it's just corrected itself. See how that's split there, look. It's pretty central to me, though it's got a little bit of tendency, it looks like it wants to run off to the right. So I've got to pull back round on the left a bit. So I'm having to pull the left out a bit more on this side. See, when it gets to this stage, it's looking pretty good. Now I could, if I wanted to, just bend this side away or this side away. But seeing that we're using the knife here, I'm just going to carry on to the end. Normally I find at the end with these small ones, it wants to run off more one way than the other. So if I just lay my knife down there, and you can literally pull this side away, and as like I said there, look, they have a tendency when it gets too small, for me, they tend to run off. But luckily I don't need this lump. But if you can see here, we have the pith running right down the middle here, and you can see in these sort of spots here, there it's got pith started in the middle, then it ran off, then it went back to the centre, it ran off, went back to the centre, and it started to run off slightly, and now it's gone all the way up. And when we got to the end there, right on the end here, it just wanted to peel off there, look, so I would just cut them off and reuse it. Right, so this one is slightly thicker. It's about thumb thickness, or just smaller than thumb thickness. Yeah, sort of middle finger. Anyway, so I want to run that split if I can, right through this like knuckle joint bit there. So, well, let's just see how it goes. So I'm going to put that in there. Just to move about. And there we go, we started, it's splitting out quite well. Sometimes the thicker stuff is easier to split than the thinner stuff. Okay, we're coming up to the little knuckle bit there. See how it rolls. Could go terribly wrong. Well, it could be. There we go. Straight through the middle. I notice here it wants to run over here to the right, so I'm going to try and the trouble is what we have now is that this wood is quite stiff, so we've got to try and bear down a bit of weight on it. And again, all I'm doing is turning my light right or left, and it's the top of the blade here, this side or that side. It's this bit here that pushes this away. So if I turn that there to the right, you can see that it literally levers it over. Okay, let's see what we got. And that split out quite well. You can see the knot was there, look. But this was a good split all the way through, look. Went off a bit there. And then we picked it up again, come up through, all the way through to the end. Okay, and I mean, that's as easy as it is to split it out. But I find that when you start splitting out the bigger stuff, it tends to be a little bit easier. I mean, I split from the thick end to the thin end, but I mean, I don't know if there's any difference if you went the other way. And that's as easy as it is. That is An old woodsman's trick. So then, just to recap, to do this you need a sheath knife or some sort of good sturdy knife, and then that is really all you need. I'm using this chopping block here, so it's sort of, you know, a nice sort of height to work from. And then as you split these out, and if you wanted to split that out again into quarters, the same principle applies. Knife in, split it out all the way out. And this is a really handy woodsman's trick that's been around a long time. In fact, this is probably one of the first skills I learnt in bushcraft, was how to split out wood like this, because you can do it on roots and all sorts of things. Or if you're making bows and you want to split a stave in half, you can, same techniques apply. The principle is the same. It's all about pressurizing one side more than the other to bring the split back into the center again. So I hope you liked that little woodsman's trick. Get out there, give it a try. It is worth learning, this one. It's a little bit frustrating. You may end up going through a lot of sticks, but it is worth the perseverance. So with that, I'm going to crack on because I want to get these split out. I've got a little job to do, and I will see you on the next one. Adios amigos.